When it comes to firing, we have a couple of options. The first is to torch fire. This is what I'm going to show you first. It's really important that the pieces you have made are really thoroughly dried before you take them to fire. If you're in any doubt whatsoever, then please place them back to dry, maybe in your oven, dehydrator, or somewhere just really warm and dry, on top of a radiator, Aga, wherever that might be. It's really important these are thoroughly dried. If you take them to fire and they still have moisture content within them, then the moisture will turn to steam, steam expands, and the pieces can blister or blow, which is really not that much fun. So really check that they are dry. There is a little test you can do to check they're dry. If you place them onto a compact mirror and just leave them there for a couple of seconds, as you remove them, if you see any condensation under the mirror, then that will give you an indication that there is a little bit of moisture underneath there. Once they're dry, they will not show any moisture on that mirror whatsoever. So I'm just going to switch the lights out a little to help you see what's going to happen, because as we torch fire these, we're doing this completely by observation. So just bear with me a second while I turn the lights down. Okay. So as you can see, I've got the pieces on a fibre brick. Now these are going to help us fire these in a very safe environment, obviously, so that we're not going to burn anything down. They're not too expensive, but I would recommend that you use one. A nice safe environment for firing anything on is on top of your gas hob. You know, you regularly cook there using lots of heat, so it's an ideal situation to fire with as well. So just put your fibre brick on top of your hob, whether it's a gas hob, electric hob, whatever it is, pop your fibre brick on top of there, and you can fire quite easily on top of there, knowing you're in a safe environment. You've generally got an extractor above you. Not that this comes off with anything horrid, but if you are concerned, then you can pop your extractor on for removing any of the smoke as you go along. So here's my torch. I'm literally going to just turn the dial here, and I'll hear the gentle hiss of the gas starting to come out, and I'll hit the button to ignite the flame. So here you can see the tip of the blue flame here. I've got a nice pointy flame. This is going to be ideal flame for what I'm looking for. You can adjust the flame by opening and closing the air valve, but this nice pointy flame on my gas torch is just what I need. So here we are, we're going to get started torch firing. Now initially I start to heat this up around the edges, around the outside like this. I don't focus on one spot, I keep the flame moving all the time. Now in a minute you're going to see some smoke and some flames, and this is all very normal. There's a little bit of trail of smoke there. That's starting to burn off the organic binder, and the flame doesn't last very long. That's it, it's all over and done with. No drama. And you may also see the pieces start to curl up a little. I can see these curling up around the edges. This is all quite normal too. Just maintain the flame and they will level themselves back out as they continue to fire. Now what we're looking for is these pieces to take on a little bit of a gentle orange glow. I think you can begin to see that gentle orange glow. And we need to maintain this for around about 3 minutes. So keep this going, keep the flame moving all the while. If you need a clock, a timer, then use one. Or if you need someone to keep you in check with your timings, then again use a timer if you need one. I haven't got one in front of me, but I'm just kind of guess my 3 minutes. You can do it longer if you want to, but it's not absolutely necessary. So they do need to get hot enough to sinter. which means all the tiny fine silver particles fuse together to become this one solid metal, but not so hot that you're going to melt it. Now we've been working in fine silver, so melting point is 961 degrees. Now if you get to the point with your torch firing that you see them start to turn silver, you've actually got them too hot. You need to immediately pull away because you've started to melt them. They should always maintain this kind of gentle orange glow, but look a little bit white in colour too. This is correct firing. So just keep this going, as I say, for around about your 3 minutes. Now, should you get interrupted while you're torch firing, then turn your torch off. Make sure you put that somewhere safe, away from falling over or someone being able to pick it up if it's because it gets hot. Do what you need to do, whether that's answer the door or answer the phone or whatever it is, the emergency that needs to be dealt with. And when you come back, begin your timings all over again from it turning orange. It does need the consistent 3-minute firing. So start all over again with your timings when you come back to this. So I'm going to stop at this point now. I'm going to turn off my flame and pop my torch in a safe place. I've got a little bowl of water here. Now it needs to be a glass bowl or a metal bowl. Don't use plastic, obviously, for obvious reasons. While you put something hot in here, it's going to melt the bottom of a plastic bowl. So pick it up with tweezers and quench it into the bowl. So this is going to make a fizz noise. Very little fizz noise as it cools down quite rapidly. Just leave it there a second or two, making sure it's well and truly cooled down, and then we can remove these out of the bowl. And this is what our fine silver looks like before we go to polish it. So these are now fully fired. Moving on to gas hob firing. Here I'll be demonstrating this using camping gas. Now in all honesty, a camping gas is really not hot enough for firing your silver clay. You really do need to fire on top of your gas hob at home. Now if you're using your gas hob at home, you need to use your largest burner and you will need to turn this on full. During this time, you will need a metal grill like this to actually fire on. This sits on top of your gas hob. Now, this can be either bought from camping shops or you can get one of these from a disposable barbecue. You'll find disposable barbecues have these kind of metal grills. And this is just a place to put your pieces. Now, as I light the camping gas, or if you were at home, obviously you'd be lighting your domestic appliance at home, you will see it starts to glow where the flame is lapping through. I call this the ring of fire. So this is the hot spots. This is where I can place my pieces into that hottest part of the flame. Now, just as previously in the torch firing, it will burn off the organic binder, so you do see a little smoke and flames. Now this is harder to see with the open flame from the gas hob, but it will be burning off that organic binder. Now I don't know of any gas hob that gets hot enough to melt anything, so sometimes this is a more preferred option for beginners. They quite like working on a gas hob like this. Now leave these here for a good 10 minutes or so, and then they will have fully fired and be ready to finish your pieces. As I say, it's really important that you just leave them there for around about 10 minutes to fire fully. Once this is finished firing, you can quench your pieces in a bowl of water, as you can see at the side here. The bowl needs to be metal or glass, but not plastic.
particular piece I'm firing at the moment is the Summer Kisses piece. This does have a gemstone in it. What you need to bear in mind, if you've got any gemstones in your pieces, these must not get fire quenched. These must not get quenched into the water, else you can damage that stone. So these are to be left to cool down naturally after they have fully fired. So you can see I've waited about three minutes or so for this to fire. It's not the full length of time that this needs to fire. As I say, you really do need to give it around about 10 minutes on your gas hob at home, and it will then have fired all the way through. When you're ready, you can turn off the flame after your 10 minutes or so, and this will obviously begin to cool down naturally, which is appropriate for this particular piece, but otherwise you can quench if you've got other pieces.
So we've already looked at the options of firing with a torch or a gas hob. This time I thought I'd show you the option of firing in a kiln if you have one. So I've placed my piece, as you can see, directly into the kiln on a shelf. But do make sure that's thoroughly dried before you fire it. And I'm just going to shut the door over. Now I'm going to fire from cold, so I'm going to switch my kiln on, and it does make this hissing and buzzing sound as it kind of gets started. I'm going to get a bit closer so you can see the readout. It does take a couple of minutes just to kind of wake itself up. Now, through this series of these keys, I'm going to start to program the kiln. This start-stop button is kind of also an OK button. So I'm going to press that now. And now the kiln is telling me it's idle, and I need to program the rest of the schedule into the kiln. So I press once again. It's now offering me what speed I want to fire at. So I'm going to fire at 800 degrees, which means I'm firing on full ramp.